Hey guys, how's it going? So 4 things for today. First thing, we're starting behind the Hartley here so that I can give you an update on the bricks. They're looking beautiful and they're almost done. The second thing we're gonna do is go move a couple of lilacs out in the south garden that just need to be shifted a tiny bit, but it's gonna look so much better. Third thing we're gonna do is pick through the dahlias that we just dug. I don't think all of them are dried out and ready to be packed, but some might be, and I kind of want to just keep up on that project as we move through these next few nice days so that hopefully we can get them all done, but we don't have to do them all at once. And the fourth thing that's going on, Paul and Bethany are winterizing the chicken coop, and they're going to film the process for us. You know, we've got the outdoor run that we put plexiglass up on, so we'll walk through that in the end. First off, we've got Douglas here keeping us company. And I know he always looks like he's begging for pets, and he is, and we do pet him, just so you know. I know the last garden tour, he followed us around the entire time, and I don't think I ever pet him, but he does get lots of pets, I promise. And I'm sure we'll see the other 2 boys show up here shortly. But look at the bricks. Oh, they're looking so good, both sides. Let's move over to this side. You know, the bricks were already done here, but this whole edge going all the way around, let's just start over here. They start here, they curve around. You can see the concrete or cement, whatever, is still sort of wet. And they swing around to this area where there's the bump out for the bench. Oh, and it goes all the way up to meet where the bricks ended initially. So that's where we stopped before we decided what to do in this space. So the last thing that they need to do, they're letting this dry, and then they're gonna come in and scrape all this mulch back, and this will all be gravel right in this area, and this will all be mulch. So we've got kind of like this little formal bed where we can plant something really neat on all 4 sides. But this is really just the perfect amount of space. I didn't need enough for, you know, a cart. We can get a small cart through here, but I just wanted a walking path over to the bench. And we needed something to distinguish this area from the flower bed behind it. And I think that that works out beautifully. So I can't wait to see it all completely buttoned up. There's Russell. Hey, buddy. Hey. And here's a view from the other side. I can't wait to get it all cleaned up with gravel. It'll all look a little bit, right now it's looking a little wonky, the lines do, but it's gonna look so great. I can't wait. They also finished this edge right here, and then started in this area and made our curve. So now I feel like I can really focus on this space. Before, I didn't really want to do a bunch of planting. You know, the blue spruce was already here. We did plant the maple, and we planted the crabapple, but you know, without the border, 1, I didn't want to get in their way, and 2, I didn't know exactly where it was gonna be, so I didn't want to have to move anything. So now we'll be able to see those lines through the winter time and really start thinking about the things we want to add to this space, and that's just, I'm excited about it. And then someday we're gonna come along with the same brick border, and we'll do that on the other side so that all the gravel stays in the driveway with the brick border. And I think that will make everything look very cohesive. We wanna do the same thing around the big lawn up front, and just anywhere where there's gravel that meets up with a flower bed or lawn, we wanna have that brick border. Something to plug away at through the years. So now we're gonna head out to the south garden to our lilac hedge. It's actually 3, and so we're gonna be moving 2 today. Oh, I just love seeing that area. So fun. Paul and Bethany recently cleaned out the begonias. It's looking fantastic. Oh, they did a great job. This time of year exposes everything, and you really get to see where, you know, you spent your effort that year. And I do feel like we got quite a number of evergreens put in the ground, so I think it's gonna be a good winter. Here we are in the south garden. You might remember when we planted these lilacs. So the one on the right-hand side went in first, and then we came in with these 2 because I kind of wanted this little bank of lilacs, and I had planned on getting 1 more and putting it here so that it was a full sort of hedge, and then I was going to put a bench or something in here. But then we decided to come off this rock pathway, which I absolutely love, with just this little one that kind of snakes through to the berry area, which means I don't need the 4th lilac, but it also means that these are all placed wrong. So if you stand back, I need to move this one a little bit that way and this one a little bit a little bit that way. I know we could do something else in here and it would be fine, but I kind of like the idea of these looking a little bit more even in the space that they have here. And I still think that this would be a great place to put a little bench that kind of faces this way. So something in the end that looks toward the center area. Hopefully it's an easy process. I'm not sure how rooted in they are. They've been in the ground for a full growing season. I am going to dig the holes where they're gonna go first, and then we'll dig them up and move them over. I'm gonna be using some Biotone starter fertilizer today, right here. Even though it's late, this is still a good fertilizer to use because it promotes root development, root growth. And the roots, even though they're working a lot slower in the wintertime, they're still working underneath the soil. So I like that that's in there, that they can feed off of that, and then in the spring, it'll still be there, and the plant can utilize it and get going. It doesn't promote a lot of foliar growth or upward growth that could get damaged, and I don't think the plant's gonna put on any at this point anyway. Our forecast is beautiful. We have 10 days with no freezing temperatures, highs in like the 50s somewhere, low to high 50s. It's gonna be gorgeous. So I think these plants will have a fine time. I don't think we'll deal with any shock. So let's get this project done. Got the first one done. Decided to start with the one on the left first because that way we would have our borders kind of determined. So the left and the right side, and that makes it easier to find our center, which I think is just to the right of the shovel. I think that'll be just about perfect, and it's equally spaced. Right over here, if you stand and look at both pathways, it's right about in the center, and I stepped it off and it's about the same distance away from this pathway at this point as the one on the far end is from the pathway. And I do intend on training these up into trees. So they'll be, you know, multi-trunk kind of small lilac trees in the end. Okay, let's get the second one done. Okay, I know it's a small change, but oh, that looks so much better. To have them spaced equally, I spent a lot of time stepping that one off, just making sure like that it was within an inch or so. And it's hard to tell too, because visually that one is a lot bigger because it's a little bit older. And I was going off of where the center of the trunks are. They're equally spaced. So what I envision for this is them to kind of create this beautiful network of branching underneath. And then this variety gets 10 to 12 feet tall. I think it's the President Lincoln, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so we'll have a nice big canopy over the top, and I kind of want it to come over the pathway a little bit, and then over this pathway just a little bit, and then maybe we'll tuck a bench right underneath. I think that'd be so pretty. When I lifted that root ball and put it in its new hole, I did try to level it up a little bit, and then I put a little bit of water in before I packed the soil in, just so that that root ball could immediately start soaking up some water. And now I'm gonna leave a slow hose on these. I watered them both in when I was done, but if I leave a slow hose on so it can really saturate, that makes me feel better. So I'll come out in a little while and move the hose to the other one and kind of flip-flop back and forth this afternoon. Kind of want to see what it looks like on the approach. Yes. Oh yeah, I like that. A little bit more room for each of them to breathe as well. All right, so now we're moving on to the next project, which is packing up some dahlias. It has been 2 days since we dug these tubers, and we put them here in the greenhouse because it's an area that stays dry and it doesn't freeze in here. We did turn the heater on, so I came out here the last 2 nights just to double check, and it was like 58 in here, which is perfect. I did put this piece of like frost cloth over the top of them just to make sure that the heater didn't dry them out too quickly, and it's working. They're doing beautifully. This is our first table that we harvested and cleaned. They're all looking really good. Some of them are dry. Some of them, like I was looking in here, there's still a little bit of moisture underneath there, and I want to make sure they're good and dry, but not too dry, before we pack them. This one right here looks really good. This is a Wizard of Oz. You can see a damaged tuber there though. And this is the time when you really want to inspect your tubers. We already did when we cleaned them. You know, I removed just a couple of clumps that had gall and tossed those. But sometimes, like, I had a lot to clean that day that I was working on this in a short amount of time. So I just cleaned them all, set them all to dry, and I thought when I go through to pack them, I will make sure to remove anything that's damaged, pierced, so on. So this is our setup right here. This is what I use to pack mine in. Now everybody's got a different method. Some people like to divide them in the fall so that they don't have to do that chore in the spring. I prefer, usually because I don't have as much time in the fall, we have a lot of other things going on outside, I prefer just to get them in storage, get them protected, and then throughout the winter months I can pull a crate or two out and get them divided and do it that way, just as it works out for my schedule time-wise. And there's a lot of different methods of storage, like different storage mediums. We use vermiculite, which is this right here, and we reuse it from year to year. It just dries right out and works beautifully. So once you buy it, you pretty much have it. And we've never had a bug problem or anything like that. I would probably toss it if there was, I don't know, fungus gnats or something like that, but that's never been an issue. Some people use peat moss, wood shavings, like newspaper. Some people even individually wrap tubers in plastic wrap and store it that way. So I think every climate and every storage situation is a little bit different. So you just have to pick one and go for it and see what happens and then make adjustments. Tubers usually want to stay around like 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Mine stay a little bit colder than that because I am storing a whole bunch of other things in our root cellar as well. So usually about 45-ish is where we keep our root cellar. And then the humidity in there, I'm trying to keep it right around 60%, but dahlias can take higher than that. So we're going to line our bulb crates here. You can use cardboard box, milk crate, whatever's breathable. We're going to line it with burlap because this is also breathable, but it will keep our vermiculite in. Then we are going to add just the tiniest bit of moisture to the vermiculite, a tiny. This is a part where you have to be very careful not to overdo it. I basically want mine to feel cool. I don't even want it to feel damp, not wet for sure, but I want it to just feel a little bit cool, and that way I usually don't have to add any additional water throughout our storage time. Hello. And I just realized my microphone wasn't on for a minute. Sorry if the audio was bad. It's on now. We were talking about adding the moisture to the vermiculite. So it's just barely enough so that the dahlia tubers don't dry out and desiccate, because I have lost them before because of that happening as opposed to them rotting. So there's a fine line. You should be checking on your dahlias throughout the winter months just to make sure you don't need to, you know, use a little spray bottle and mist a little bit inside their storage container, or sometimes we have to pull them out and put new vermiculite in that's drier if things have gotten too moist. But that again is where it's important to find any pierced or damaged tubers, because those will start to rot and that will add moisture to your containers too. So anyway, we're just gonna cut the stems off of ours, make sure they're all labeled, remove anything that has been damaged, and then we'll pack them in vermiculite. And then I've got my Falcos and a knife to remove things. Like this one's not gonna even make a cut end, I don't think. Yeah. This tuber that was all pierced by my digging fork, it was already broken. See that? It's already all dried out. That's perfect. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, so let's pick through all these tubers, pull out the good ones, and get them all inspected, and then we'll pack. guys, I got to a point where I think I'm gonna leave it for the evening. I really wanted to get these all packed up, but one, I think we are gonna lose light here soon, and I wanna go take a look at the chicken coop to see what Paul and Bethany did. But also, I did quite a lot of cutting. There were a lot of damaged tubers, still have a ton of tubers here, and we still have to dig 5 more rows. But I want them to have a chance to heal. All those cuts, I need them to dry up thoroughly. There's also some places that have a little bit of moisture. So at least the cleaning process is done, eradicating anything that was damaged. So all we'll have to do when we get ready to pack them, hopefully tomorrow or the next day, is just put them in their bins. But look at all of these. Oh my goodness, they look so good. And when we go to divide, I mean, like this, for example, there are so many tubers on this one clump. And then on some, I didn't get quite as many. So yeah, there are some that will need to be divided further, big time. I will do that later on. But for now, they're clean, they look good. Just wait for all of this soil to dry out. And then all the areas where I cut the stalks, like I think they might be okay to go in to storage, but I'll feel better about it if we let them sit for a minute. So I'm gonna cover over them again with our white frost cloth just to protect them from excess heat, and we'll be good to go. I also have kind of well, it's not an irrational fear because it has happened, but I have a fear that the front door of the greenhouse will pop open in the night. It has happened before, just one time. So anyway, it just makes me feel better to have them all tucked in. So now let's take a look at what Paul and Bethany did. Cheddar, there's the third one. They've all kind of been in and out of the greenhouse this afternoon. Oh, there we go. Hey girls. Okay, so normally this run is open. You know, there's hardware cloth right here and air just, you know, kind of flows through, and there's still air all the way around the top. There's like a 6-inch gap or so. And so air can freely move through all the way around. But the inside of these walls, we do have to replace a couple of them. Paul was telling me that a couple of them with the wind kind of cracked, but on the inside here, we have plexiglass all the way around. There's my molting girls right there. And these are actually windows. Like you can rotate this little piece right here and the whole square window with the crossbar there comes off. So there are 6 of them up front, and the roof does have that corrugated plastic as well. We did this, I mean, back when our winters were actually a little bit more severe than they are now. They've just been a little bit more mild the last couple of years. But chickens, they can withstand a lot of cold, so I don't really, I know, yeah, we're fixing it up for you. I'm not worried about the temperature so much as the wind. They need a place that's protected from the wind, and while they could go into the run or to the coop right there to escape it, it just makes me feel good for them to have a big open space to run around. And then we grow wheatgrass for them and things like that, so we can continually have, you know, green fodder for them to eat. And of course they get all of our vegetable and fruit kitchen scraps and a little bit of bread, but not much. We've got some honeydew melons right down there. They were a little overripe when I picked them. And just as a look inside here, it's pretty simple, you guys. We've got a little bird in here. Oh, for heaven's sakes, let me see if I can open the door. Here we go. Okay, where'd it go? Oh, it's in here. Okay. Ooh. Oh, it got out. Yes, success. So their coop is set up like this. They roost right here. And we've got a heated water dish there, and there's a little heat plate, so it's a safe form of heat. I used to put a heat lamp in here before I knew better. They're really dangerous. I mean, they're good to use when you've got a protected interior space, when you're warming up chicks and ducklings like little babies, things like that. But as a general like coop heating tool, not the best. So I did have electrical like put in right there, which, you know, would be kind of nice if we do put some other type of light in here, just regular light. But for heat, we use the heat plate, and it just keeps the ambient temperature underneath where their feet are on the roost a little bit warmer. And then of course, you know, the windows we shut. And we do have an automatic door over here that opens and closes. We need to work on it. It's still not working because we haven't had the chance to work on it, but it's supposed to open and close dawn to dusk, which, you know, if we did not have the plexi, I would probably get more on top of it, because I would want to make sure that this door was shut, because our wind comes right through this way and it would blast them right where they're laying down. But it's not as necessary because we have the plexi out here. It's a completely protected space. So this door can stay open. The chickens can go in and out whenever they please. It just has been a really good setup. Now the coop itself, I want to say it's like a 10 by 10 roughly. And the run is about a 16 by 10, and we only have 4 hens. So you want treats? We could have more chickens than that, but I like all of my animals to have a big open spaces to run. All right, here we go. Well, let's toss them out for those girls. And then Bev, you can, there you go. So these pieces of plexiglass, they're just stored up in the loft in the barn. So Paul and Bethany got them down and cleaned them up so they looked, you know, so you could see through them. They weren't super dusty, and then got them all reattached. So that was really awesome. They do a good job, like keeping that on the list. I hadn't even thought about it yet. And Paul said, hey, I think we're gonna do the coop today. Oh, bless you. Oh, they keep our heads up out of water. That's for dang sure. We're so thankful for their help around here. So anyway, guys, that is it for today. Got the necessary thing done, which was getting it's not necessary. I shouldn't say it's necessary. I got the thing I really wanted to get done, which was moving the lilacs and creating a more balanced look out there. Also, getting through the dahlias was really nice, because I knew it was going to be time consuming. No matter what happened, it was going to be time consuming. And even though the next 10 days look really good, it creeps up on you really fast, and it goes by so fast, and we still have those 5 rows to dig that we'll want to just keep on plugging away. And I will show you an update after Pedro and his crew come back and finish all the gravel work. It'll look so tidy and so nice. I'm so excited. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.